Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Mr. V. Cannot believe we're already at 7 subscribers. This is amazing. I just knew I was going to be YouTube famous. I just didn't think it would happen so quickly. Okay, so we're part 3 of the lesson here. We are looking at solving quadratics. You've already factorized quadratics as a starter. You've already done a worksheet on solving quadratics. And now we're going to look at solving quadratics which are not factorized. So what you have just been doing is the questions on the left-hand side. I want you to compare the questions on the left with the question in this red box here. What do you notice is different about this question compared to the questions on the left? You should notice two different things. So one of those things is the fact that, well, it's not factorized because there's no brackets there. And the second thing you'll notice is all of the questions that were given to you in the last exercise equals 0. And in this case, equals negative 12. So it doesn't equal to 0. So these two things are going to be the main differences between the equations that we're about to solve now and the equations that you have just been looking at. So let's look at our first example here. So x squared plus 8x equals negative 12. Well, to solve this, first thing I'm going to need to do is I'm going to add 12 to both sides. That will mean I have a 0 on the right-hand side. So x squared plus 8x plus 12 equals 0. I can then factorize this whole equation by splitting the middle term into a number that multiplies to 12 and adds to 8. So it's going to be x squared plus 6x plus 2x plus 12 equals 0. And then I can factorize these two bits here. So I have x times x plus 6 plus 2 times x plus 6 equals 0. And then I can see I can combine these two to get x plus 2, x plus 6 equals 0. And then finally the solving part, which is x plus 2 is equal to 0 or x plus 6 is equal to 0, because I know that these two things will multiply to give me 0. So either of those have to be 0. So if I take away 2 from both sides, I get x equals negative 2. And in this one, if I take away 6 from both sides, I get x equals negative 6. Those are my two solutions. The question on the right, you are going to attempt that question. The working out for this question will be, you're going to need to upload that. The final answer you should get is x equals negative 2 and x equals negative 7. So show your teacher how you got that as your answer. Okay, next example here, we're going to look at x squared plus 2x equals 15 and x squared plus 3x equals 10. So in this case, we're going to again take away 15 from both sides to make it 0 on one side. So x squared plus 2x minus 15 equals 0. And then I'm going to do the rest of the working out here so you can watch as I do that. So it's going to be x squared. I want two numbers that multiply to negative 15 and add to positive 2. So it's going to be positive 5 and negative 3. So negative 3x plus 5x minus 15 equals 0. I can then factorize this. So x times x minus 3 plus 5 times x minus 3 equals 0. So x plus 5 from here, and then x minus 3 from there equals 0. So x plus 5 equals 0, or x minus 3 equals 0. Take away 5, take away 5. This is our first solution, x equals negative 5. And it is our second solution, x equals positive 3. Okay, second example, again, you're going to do this in your books and show the working out as part of your homework. Now, What happens when you get slightly harder looking equations like this, where you don't see any numbers on the left-hand side? So first of all, again, I still need to make one of the sides 0. So I'm just going to take away x from both sides. So I now have x squared minus x equals 0. What can I take out? Well, in this case, I can just factorize x out. So x times x minus 1 equals 0. Now, essentially, there is a bracket around the x there. So either x equals 0 or x minus 1 equals 0. Now, this you can just add 1 to both sides to get x is equal to 1. So your two solutions are x equals 0 or x equals 1. Now, the question on the right is a little bit trickier. So we'll have a go with that now. First of all, I'm going to take away 4 from both sides. So I have x squared minus 4 equals 0. Now you'll notice there's no term with an x there. So we can just add a 0x in the middle. So we get x squared plus 0x minus 4 equals 0. And now it looks more like the type of quadratics that you've seen. So what two numbers will multiply to negative 4 and add to 0? Well, it's going to be negative 2 and positive 2. So this becomes x squared minus 2x plus 2x minus 4 equals 0. And then we can factorize that. Remember, minus 2x plus 2x is just going to give you 0. So this becomes x brackets x minus 2 plus 2 brackets x minus 2, and factorize that out. So x plus 2, x minus 2. So either that or that is equal to 0. So x equals negative 2 or x equals positive 2. And the final example we're going to look at here is deceptively longer. So you can see the equation is not equal to 0. So we're going to need to change that 6. We can't just, well, we can subtract 6, but it's not going to help us factorize it because then you'll end up with x plus 1, x plus 2, take away 6 equals 0. So how can we factorize this? Well, there's no shortcut. We have to expand this, simplify it, and then factorize the new quadratic that we get. So let's expand this out. So we get x times x plus 1 plus 2 times x plus 1 minus 6 equals 0. Then you get x squared plus x plus 2x plus 2 minus 6 equals 0. So we've expanded all the brackets. We're going to simplify this now. So we get x squared plus 3x. And then positive 2 minus 6 is just negative 4 equals 0. And now we can factorize this quadratic here. This is actually equivalent to that here, because all we've done is expanded it and rearranged it. So what two numbers multiply to give you negative 4 and add to give you positive 3? Well, it's going to be, we know it's probably going to be 1 and 4. Let's figure out the signs. Well, is it going to be negative 1 and positive 4 or positive 1 and negative 4? Well, it's going to be this combination here. So it's going to be x squared minus 1x plus 4x minus 4 equals 0. And then keep going to factorize it. X times x minus 1 plus 4 times x minus 1 equals 0. And then we can say x plus 4 times x minus 1 will give you 0. And then the final part to solve this, x plus 4 equals 0 or x minus 1 equals 0. So take away 4, x equals negative 4. And here plus 1, x equals 1. So that is the working out for this second for the last example here, all of this working out is going to be put on Google Classroom for you, so you can look back at it without having to watch the video. And what you're going to be required to do now is these worksheets, these lovely worksheets, which I've prepared along. Got some fantastic content coming up in addition to this. Don't worry, guys. Okay, so the first thing you're going to be doing is fill in the blanks. There's 4 questions on that sheet. The second sheet you're going to do is this one here. So there's questions A to H with a challenge. And then the third question, you must all attempt this problem solving type question. Okay, make sure you hit subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. It's got some amazing content coming up for you. Smash that like button too.